Boom! What's up? Awesome.
What's up?
Mrs. Enciso, thank you so much, man, for your time and to spend with us and to share, your testimony of being a director and how God has been working in your life and your family's lives and, what's brought you here today. So could you just share with us how long you've been homeschooling, how long you all have been in classical conversations, and how long you've been directing?
Sure. I've been homeschooling for about 8 years. My oldest is 12. My youngest is 9, 2 girls. I started with I started with CC. This will be going into my 5th year in September. What was the other question?
And then how long you've been directing, ma'am?
Oh, directing. So I only just started Challenge A, directing Challenge A this past year. So it was my first year directing. Before that, I was in foundations tutoring.
Okay, excellent. That's great, man. And I can tell by your accent you're from Texas.
Yeah. Boston. Actually, originally from Rhode Island, so it's really messed up. You got the Rhode Island and the Boston accent combined. It gives me away every time.
Yes, ma'am. That's great. That's great. Okay, so now the question of the day for you, ma'am, why would you consider why would you consider someone else, why should someone else consider the possibility of directing?
Well, I have a 2-part answer. So I think the first part would be that I love CC. My kids love CC. They're flourishing there. It's just so awesome to see. And I think as homeschoolers that, we invest so much in our children's education. And I really want my community to grow. And I want my kids to keep learning in CC until they graduate. And it wasn't until a couple of years ago that I realized we're sticking through this until graduation. Those kids in Challenge are learning so much. It's so rich. But I realized that if I sit back and decide not to help my community, everyone else sits back and doesn't want to help either, then we're not going to have a community. And I really need to step up whenever there's a need in the community, because I want this to keep going until my kids graduate and further for everybody else that's coming behind. So like I say, I need my community, therefore my community needs me. So I have to step up. And I really just feel like, your kids watch you constantly, even when you don't realize it. But I want them to see that I step up and help other people too. And I have a lot of fears, but CC grows me every week. I feel like it's just amazing. But I want to set an example to my kids that they see me doing something that I struggle with, or that's something I've never done before at my age, and that I'm working on something that I'm unsure of. Because, we succeed and fail all throughout our lives, and so will they. And they're going to face the same thing. But I just think sometimes if they were faced with having to get a job that they really wanted but were too afraid to try it, that would be really sad. So I really want them to go for it and try it even if they're not comfortable or they have fears like I do. And I am transparent in that I tell them when I'm afraid or they see me nervous. They saw me nervous trying to get onto this call today. So, but a few weeks ago, we had a guest pastor, and he said this quote, and let me just see if I could read it. If the hand of the Lord is on you for good, you must strengthen your hands to do the good work. Everyone has to do their part for the things to get done. And I just believe that we're always responsible for doing our part in CC to give the kids the future there. So that was one of my main reasons for doing it. And I was going back to my fear. I was very fearful to be a director. And everyone around me, it has more confidence in my ability than I have confidence in myself. And so I had a fear of homeschooling. I didn't think I was going to homeschool. God wanted me to do it. I felt that call. And so many circumstances led up to me having to make that decision. And I just had to jump in with both feet. And then when a friend of mine opened CC, I had always been interested in the classical method, but every time I looked into it, I was afraid of it because it wasn't something that I was taught. I was public school. It wasn't the classical method. That's all I knew. And every time I would research classical, it freaked me out, honestly. Like, I was like, I'm definitely not smart enough to do this at all. How am I ever going to teach this? And then my friend opened a classical conversations near me, and I knew God was like, here you go. It's right in your lap. And in fact, it was right in my town. It could have been in her town, but it was in my town. So I felt like God really said, you have to do this. I don't care if you're afraid, you need to do this for your kids. So I jumped in with both feet, and she needed a tutor. And I said, no, I can't tutor. I've never even seen a class. I don't know what to do. So she convinced me that I'd be fine and she would support me. And so I became a sub for foundations. And then I ended up tutoring foundations full time, and I loved it. So much fun. And then going into the other year, I said to her, I really don't mind tutoring, but the older kids, I just, I don't understand older kids. How would I ever do the masters? I don't know what I have in common with a 12-year-old boy. And then, and then they really needed a master's tutor. So I said, all right, God, fine. So I did it. And apparently I have way more in common with a 12-year-old boy than I realized. We had so much fun. It was a blast. And then going to Challenge A meant that I could stay with those kids. And I just fell in love with them. And it was kind of a mutual thing. They just was, they were sad that they were going to move up and I wasn't coming along with them. And we needed a Challenge A tutor. And God was pushing me to do it. I could just feel every step of the way, like, you need to do this. And I kept saying, no, I can't do this. It's just so hard. And, I had this imagination that Challenge was this huge thing. It was like a mountain that there's no way I could climb that mountain, and that it was too scary. But that was a huge step out in faith for me. And I did it. And of course, halfway through, I realized it's not as scary as everybody realizes. And it's actually quite a gift. And that more people should be blessed with that gift. And, so when you ask me to do this, I just need to tell everybody that you just got to jump in with both feet and just do it, because it blesses you like crazy. And the kids too. It's so amazing to see what they learn. And God led me to each of those situations and gave me these opportunities to step out, even though I was very fearful. But because I trusted him and did it regardless of my fears, he gave me the tools to be able to do it. Every week I was able to do it. And I learned with them. You don't have to know everything. Look, I've been with my husband we've been together for 30 years, and he speaks fluent Spanish, and I still can't even get by. I am horrible with foreign languages. So how in the world can I tutor Latin? And I did. Like, I learned alongside them. I'm still not great, but I learned how to ask the right questions, and that was the key. I realized it was all about the conversation. And, they keep saying lead learner, and you really are. And so I feel like I am not only reclaiming my education, but I'm receiving a rich education alongside these kids. And it makes me joyful to know that my kids are going to get this gift. And you just learn as you go. You learn as you prep. You learn as you have these discussions with the kids. They come out with things and they blow your mind sometimes. And you just have fun learning together. So I recommend it. If you have a little fear, you have to, and God's leading you, you just got to jump in.
Wow, man, that was awesome. That was amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am. There's so much great skinny in there, ma'am. I just totally appreciate you sharing.
It's all God. It's all God.
Amen. I mean, I love your testimony. You're, being real and transparent, and just being obedient to God. And I love what you said too about modeling to your children. Hey, look, I'm uncomfortable. I'm out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
And guess what? This is exactly when we depend on God. Proverbs 3, 5, and 6, to trust in the Lord with all our heart and lean not on our own understanding, but in all our ways acknowledge Him, and He will direct our paths. You know what I mean? So anyway, there's so much stuff what you said, ma'am. I really appreciate it. And for those of y'all that are watching again, you guys can check out, if you want more information, you can go to a couple of different spots. You can go to classicalconversations.com/CC director, or you can also go to Classical Conversations YouTube channel, and then you can go to the playlist. It's called Meet the Directors, and you'll see all these neat little interviews and encouraging clips from these super duper directors that we've got an opportunity to interact with. So thank you so much, ma'am. God bless you, and have a super day.
It was great to talk with you. Thanks so much.
You too, ma'am.